Hello, and welcome to the 4th Annual Community Impact Challenge Finals. We're so excited to have you join us this evening to watch the presentations from this year's finalists and to hear the announcement of this year's winners. My name is Dr. Jasmine Linneberry, and I'm here to offer some brief introductions on behalf of my fellow CIC coordinators. To give you a little bit of an overview of the evening, we'll start by offering some introductions and special thanks. You will then hear presentations from our 3 finalist teams, followed by comments from the judges and the announcement of winners. So what is the Community Impact Challenge? The CIC is a grant competition that is meant to inspire Emporia State University students to get involved in the local community. Students work collaboratively in teams of 3 to 5 to identify creative and meaningful solutions to adaptive challenges facing the campus and/or greater Emporia community. Teams submit proposals, and finalists are ultimately selected among those proposals by the judges and asked to prepare presentations in more detail about their idea for the judges as well as the broader public. And that's what you're here to join us for this evening. The team that wins tonight will be awarded $500 to carry out their idea. They will have until May of 2022 to do this. To give you a little sense of what the judges are looking for this evening, finalists are evaluated on both the quality of their presentations as well as the following criteria. Proposals should focus on a relevant and significant community challenge. They also need to identify a creative and meaningful solution to address that challenge. The proposal should include a detailed and justified budget. It should also be well-researched and persuasive, feasible, and ethical. We want to give a special shout out to our sponsors. Specifically, our sponsors of this year's event include Community Hornets, the Department of Communication and Theater, and the Honors College. We also want to recognize the organizers and volunteers that make the CIC possible. So first, your CIC coordinators this year include myself, Jaylee Postlethwaite, and Blythe Eddy. Your CIC judges this year, who you'll hear from at the end of our time together today, include Blythe, who's representing Community Hornets, Chris Logry, representing the Department of Communication and Theater, Eliza Rink, an ESU student and member of Community Hornets, Mickey Edwards with the United Way of the Flint Hills, and Shelby Perez, an ESU alumna. We also want to recognize some folks who volunteer their time to support the finalists as they prepare their presentations. These folks include Jaylee, who's our CIC intern, Quinn Wiley, who's a past CIC finalist, and Drew Nichols, who's a senior communication major. Thank you all for your contributions to making tonight's event possible. Without further ado, we are going to turn the time over to our finalist presentations. Our finalist teams this year include Campus Food Access International Committee, Happy Paws, and Students Stomp the Stigma. The presentations you're about to hear will occur in this order. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you enjoy the rest of tonight's event. Thank you.
Hello, welcome to our presentation. My name is Margaret Malott. We are the Campus Food Access International Committee, and I am a senior communication major.
I'm Aaron Clark. I'm also a senior communication major with an emphasis in PR.
Hello everyone, I'm Ryuto Sagawa. I'm also senior communication major and my emphasis is leadership. And as you notice, I believe I'm also an international student. So actually I'm the stakeholder for our proposal actually. Okay, I can talk about the program. Going to university is a great privilege and not everyone can afford to go. However, just because they have the funds or even the know-how when it comes to food. Many young students often struggle in this transition period when they have to start paying for their own groceries or cooking for themselves. This issue is even more prevalent in the international students' populations. According to a study of ESU students done by the Hope Center in 2020, nearly 30% have experienced some form of food insecurity. This same study found that students from minoritized groups disproportionately experienced higher rates of basic needs insecurity, including food insecurity. Food insecurity can mean a lot of different things for different people, but primarily it's when you don't know where your next meal is coming from, or it could be having access to healthy and balanced meals. Ramen might be easily accessible, but it's not sustainable long term. According to the United Nations World Food Summit, 1996 definition, food security means that all people at all times have physical, social, and economic access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food. That means their food preferences and dietary needs for an active and healthy life. There have been a lot of campus initiatives in recent years to help provide students with basic needs like food, but we believe there's room to better allocate for international students' food needs, especially since COVID-19 has isolated us in a lot of ways. Current data has found that the pandemic has increased the number of students dealing with food insecurity. Many have even lost jobs or are experiencing a reduction in income. According to the Hope Center Survey 2020, income directly impacts a person's ability to access food. In fact, there are a lot of things that can hinder someone's access to food. International students tend to struggle with many things more than domestic students on campus. It is because they are international students. They are living in a completely different environment from their home country. I personally think the biggest challenge is food. Humans can't live without food, so we have to eat something every day. But food is not a free item. It doesn't show up naturally. So we need to buy and sometimes cook for eating ourselves. According to West 2019, one survey reports that international students have a higher prevalence of food insecurity than domestic students. It is due to high tuition fees and a factor that increases vulnerability to financial difficulties, but has not received much attention. Studying abroad literally takes a lot of money. International students have to pay much more tuition than domestic students. They need to pay for housing, electricity, gas, water, and food. They need a lot of money to live in the US. However, I said we need to eat something every day, but also food is the easiest element to avoid consuming money. If we skip one meal, we can save that amount of money, so some people don't prioritize eating food. Jeffrey and Dyson 21 figured out some international students had to skip meals, and others argued the lack of money, time, dietary diversity, and nutritional quality. Uh, in addition, some students say they had to become vegetarian rather than choosing it themselves. According to international student insurance, not getting enough food can affect students not only physically but also mentally. It can cause depression as well as lack of concentration and sleep deprivation. Moreover, such financial stress can lead to shame and isolation, which is a major problem for international students. Another problem is that even if international students could have enough food, those are unfamiliar with them. Food insecurity doesn't mean people don't have enough food, even if they have enough ingredients and seasoning. They don't know how to use those kinds of stuff for making meals. There are a lot of different organizations currently working to better allocate for food insecure individuals on campus. For example, there's a Basic Needs Coalition, Emporia at the Table, Rocky's Couple, and Hornets Against Hunger. All of these organizations are working to provide great campus places that Emporia State didn't previously have. However, we do believe that it will be like our solutions will be beneficial for ESC's international population. So I'll hand it over to Alan. He's talking about our solutions.
Thanks, Ryota. Thanks for covering the problem and kind of addressing what food insecurity is and how it impacts our international students especially. And now our solution is really based on two main points. The first of those is being to promote Corky's Cupboard. So like Ryota said, Corky's Cupboard is a great resource for students and international students. Providing food and groceries is vital, but if the information around Corky's Cupboard isn't clear, then the barrier there still exists between getting food to students who need it. So we would aim to revamp the flyers that are put up around campus. To start with, this would include an overhaul of their visual design. There's nothing wrong with the current aspects of the posters and flyers that they have, but they don't necessarily stand out in a sea of other posters from other organizations. And that's something that we think needs to change because you need to be able to look at these bulletin boards and see this information prevalently and prominently. So another aspect of revamping the posters would be to put them in a variety of different languages. And so this would be a partnership with the Office of International Education, and we'd work to translate into as many languages as we feasibly could and to the biggest benefit of our current international students. And so the next part of our solution would be a cooking program. And so this is the bulk of what our budget would go towards, which Margaret will hit on later. But this would show students how to make affordable, nutritious meals, not only once, but repeatedly. That way, in the future, they wouldn't have to struggle with knowing how to make meals given the ingredients from Quirky's cupboard. And so our videos would be in English, but we'd also collaborate in this with the Office of International Studies on translating these videos with subtitles so that they could be even more accessible to the international students on campus. And we would upload these to YouTube so everyone would have access to it. And this wouldn't only help our international students, these cooking programs, because teaching people how to cook is vital for anyone, because many incoming freshmen aren't prepared with the skills or tools necessary to prepare proper meals for themselves. But I'll let Margaret talk a little more about our budget and the timeline for our approach next.
Hello, my name is Margaret, and to start with our timeline, this semester we hope to accomplish two main things. The first being the rollout of the posters and flyers in different languages. The next would be the trial run of the cooking class. So we would just do, see how it goes. We would do one episode from the series, and that would be both of these things would be in November, so before we hit dead week and finals week, when students are really stressed. Plus, having it on November 18th allows for room for potentially Thanksgiving themed foods. And then next semester, we're looking at hosting 4 cooking classes, and that number could increase, it could decrease, just depending on the areas of need and the number of volunteers that we get to host the cooking classes. So we're looking at dates like January 7th, February 24th, March 24th, and April 21st. So we're shooting towards the end of the month to give plenty of time to process the subtitles as well as filming and editing as needed. Next, I will talk about the budget. So for the posters, they are 26 cents each. And if we print 10 posters and we print in 6 different languages, that would put us at around $15.60. And then we would also have the supplies for the cooking classes. So each host would get about $25 for their ingredients. We want these lessons to be cheap and affordable and also still like healthy and balanced. So 25 puts us at a good range. And in total, by the end of the series, this would put us at $125. Lastly, our biggest expense would be meal kits. So along with these cooking classes, we are hoping to create meal kits for students on campus. And we would do a sort of raffle for students and the winners would receive the cooking supplies from the recipes. This would cost about $359.40. But this, like I said, would allow us to provide about 14 meal kits for students, and we could do a raffle for for whoever attends the live show of the cooking class. So that is what our budget looks like. And that is our presentation. Thank you so much for listening. It has been great to share this information, and we really hope to do a lot for international students and also other students on campus. Here are our references. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Casey.
I'm Eric.
I'm Anna.
I'm Masa.
And we're
Happy
Paws.
Hello, my name is Casey and my group's name is Happy Paws. Our goal is to collect donations on November 20th, 2021. We plan on collecting these donations for the Emporia Animal Shelter. I got my dog at the beginning of quarantine. His name is Ghost. He's my pride and joy. He saved my life many times. Before I got Ghost, I was actually planning on dropping out of college. I'm going to ask you to imagine you're a dog like Ghost. You've got your forever family. You're excited, you're happy, you're falling into a routine. You're safe and warm. Then one day, things change. Mom and Dad start going back to work a lot more. COVID's over. Suddenly, they take you back to the shelter. It's immense cold, it's dark, you're alone, and you're scared. Now, luckily, this isn't the case for my dog Ghost, but for many pandemic puppies, it is unfortunately the case. Since COVID-19 restrictions were lifted, many pandemic puppies have been returned to shelters after quarantine. According to National Geographic, the rate of animals being adopted from shelters skyrocketed during quarantine. But now, after these restrictions have been lifted, the amount of animals being returned to shelters have almost doubled. So we found ourselves asking, how can we help? That's when we started Happy Paws. The goal of our group's direct action plan is to collect donations for the Emporia Animal Shelter to prepare for the amount of increased intake during the slower donation months of winter. We hope to collect bags of food, bedding, clothes, cleaning supplies, toys, and other enrichment items for the animals. We hope to provide these donations to the Emporia Animal Shelter.
So since our plan is to do a donation drive to help these puppies, this is how we're planning to use the money of the 500 prize if we win it. So our budget is concentrated first in $200 for adopt a stuffed animal. For this, we're focusing on children because we think that teaching kids at a starting age the importance of adopting is a good step, so in the future we don't have these cases of puppies left in these animal shelters. So with the $200 money, we're trying to purchase bulk inexpensive stuffed animals and also print some of adoption certificates for these young children. We're gonna do some kind of games with them so they can learn a little bit more of adoption, and in that sense we can promote our main goal of helping the animal shelter. The second part of it is the 75 radio airtime, because we think that spreading the word is very important, especially in the Emporia community. So we're going to be using Anyone in Emporia as also a small ad that we would like to put in the Emporia Gazette so that people can also read it in the newspaper. And we're going to basically search some kind of ways we can spread this message as well with the $75 of the price. So in the schools, some kind of like cars, or also in the work. Then we will divide the $50 there for our flyers for the event. So we will be using that for basically put in some kind of stores around town where people visit a lot, and so they can know also about this. Then we'll have $25 for adoptable dogs. So basically there we're gonna be helping the Emporia Animal Shelter with the part of posters about the institution, and so people can know more information about it, and so they can go and adopt. We will have $75 for tax and fees, because we are aware that they might come up with some in some parts, like for example food, or even if there's a place where we're going to print the flyers, we will need some. So that money is specified for that. And finally, the $75 for drinks and snacks, because the day of the event we would like to have some cookies, some snacks to boost the attendance of the Emporia community. So we'll be using that for the complementary part of attracting people to our event, and so our donation drive be successful.
Hi, I'm Masa. I will talk about animal shelters. According to the American Pet Products Association, there are roughly 13,600 independent community animal shelters here in the United States. Now, it may seem like a large number, but it shrinks in comparison to the number of pets turned over to the shelters each year. A shocking 7.6 million companions enter shelters each year. Here, close to home, the Emporia Animal Shelter is at capacity. Last week, according to our community partner, the Emporia Animal Shelter rescued 15 large shepherd-like dogs from a holding situation. Can you guess how many 40-pound bags of dog food it takes to feed 15 large dogs for 2 a month? Roughly 10 40-pound bags of dog food. Think of all the dog food and then add in all the dog food for all other dogs at this shelter. Now think of the price. That's why we need to help.
My name is Eric, and I bet you're wondering, how will we do this? That's a great question. Our direct action plan is to hold a donation drive on November 20th, 2021. We will decide a time in the next 1 to 2 weeks on exactly when we would do it. We're waiting to coordinate with our time with the Emporia Animal Shelter and the Humane Society of Flint Hills. We will be holding our donation drive outside of the university facing Commercial Street. And we hope to have a gazebo set up with adoption forms and pictures and adoptable animals currently in the Emporia Animal Shelter. We will be providing complimentary cookies and drinks, and our plan is to ask local businesses to donate the funds for refreshments and cookies. And of course, our children's adoption event. We'll be hanging up and distributing flyers for the event around town. And with our budget, we will get an ad space for newspaper and radio time. This direct action plan will help us address our problem due to the increase in donations and will be able to provide. This will directly help the local community as we are donating exclusively to the Emporia Animal Shelter, which is local to the community. We picked this solution because it's the most efficient way of collecting donations. We are offering a centralized drop-off point with no needed action from our donors. The organization has provided us a list of donations they are most in need of, but have expressed that they are appreciative of all donations. Of course, we will be accepting monetary donations, and the animal shelter has expressed the need for monetary donations for medical necessities for the animals. We understand some of our publicity for the event will come from people just driving near the university, so we are happy to accept monetary donations to make it more convenient. The idea of adding convenience to our donors allows our goal to be more feasible and more accomplished.
Hi everyone, we're the Students Stop the Stigma, and my name is Sandra Koskela.
My name is Courtney Craig.
And unfortunately, Whitney couldn't be with us today due for a family emergency, but Courtney is gonna start her part by talking about the purpose and the problem.
Thank you, Sandra. So our purpose is to spread mental health awareness across campus. We know that students have problems with mental health that have been prevalent throughout their lives, and we want to make sure that they know that they have a safe place that they can come and talk with a professional and someone, a third-party point of view that is completely outside of their help, completely outside of anything that they've been talking, any of their friends that they've been talking to. And we want to provide resources, information. If they're not comfortable talking to a mental health professional at the moment, we want to make sure that they have the resources to help their mental health. So for the problem, we have seen mental health problems all over Emporia State's community. So mental health issues, stress, anxiety have been on the rise for Emporia State students since the pandemic. In a 2021 survey, so this is post-pandemic survey done by the Hope Center, we've seen that 45% of students that participated in the survey experienced moderate to severe anxiety, and over 41% experienced moderate to severe depression. So these numbers are not outliers. The Emporia State community is not an outlier. In fact, they're a little bit low for the nationwide average, which was around 40 to 50% in this survey. So we are right there in the average of being half of our students have mental health problems. And we feel like we can help this problem in our community. And in a interview with Lindsay Bays, the director of the Student Wellness Center. She said that depression, anxiety, and loneliness are not new. We've been seeing these since before the pandemic, and we will continue to see these after. So like you saw on the purpose slide, loneliness is something that she mentioned was something that is definitely increased since the pandemic. So along with this anxiety, depression, and other mental health issues, loneliness is something that has been increased since the pandemic, and we want to make sure that, and she's also said that clients have been increased since the pandemic and more people have been seeking counseling services since the pandemic, and she said that these are clients are not people that would have done anything that would have been involved with counseling services in any way if it was pre-pandemic. So mental health issues and things have been prevalent in our community for a long time, and they will continue to be prevalent in our community. And the college community in particular, because college populations have a very high prevalence of stress, which is a direct impact on mental health at large, done by a Chinese researcher in 2018. So this is saying that colleges have an environment that produces mental health problems, that produces stress and mental health problems. So this is why we think that the Emporia community needs our solution, which is going to be presented by Sandra.
Thank you, Courtney. So the solution for our problem is that we want to create a mental health fair. And the purpose of this fair will be sharing awareness of different mental health conditions like depression, anxiety, or just stress. And we want to help students through this mental health fair to share knowledge how to seek help or proceed. We also want to normalize different mental health issues because a lot of people can think that you're crazy if you go to see a counselor or they're feeling shame or guilt, but it's normal to go see a therapist and just talk. And I feel like that's what everybody actually needs. And we also want to open conversations and create connections with professionals because we have been planning to collaborate with different organizations like the Student Art Therapy Organization in Crosswinds and the Student Wellness Center. We want students to, because some people, they feel comfortable to talk to these professionals in a different environment before they go to a deeper level conversations. So we were planning that if they can create connections in this fair, it might be easier for them to go actually schedule an appointment and meet them in the counselor appointment. We also want to share more information from different aspects. So if we have the Student Wellness Center and Crosswinds, they will both of them will be sharing different kind of information, and they will be serving different kind of help for students. We have been also planning to organize different games like Jenga with affirmations, bingo, paint, since art therapy has been proven to be beneficial to mental health issues. And different refreshments, just to distress and inform students. And Courtney will be talking about the budget that we have for the mental health fair.
Thank you, Sandra. So we are planning to utilize the full $500 for if we are selected. So the first $100 is going to be put towards promotional materials from the University Copy Center. So we looked on their website for these first two items on our budget to get an idea of the money that would need to be allocated. So we are planning on printing posters and signs that yard signs that can be put all around campus to make sure that students know what's going on, when it's going on, all of the details, and make sure that they know that they are welcome there. And the $150, the second line in our budget, is going to be towards printing flyers and informational materials that are going to be utilized at the event. So we're going to have tables with different resources and information on them. So with flyers, make sure that the students have something that they can take home and so that they don't forget it. So they know how to schedule an appointment at the Student Wellness Center, what the cost is, the same thing for the crosswinds, and if they want to get involved in a student art therapy organization later on. All of that information is going to be printed on flyers that we are going to provide for the event. And another thing that we are going to provide, hopefully, is refreshments. We've put aside $100 towards refreshments. Lindsay Bays, our contact at the Student Wellness Center, was thinking maybe pizza, because that is a huge draw for college students, free food as always. So you're hoping to draw in a few more students that might not have come before. So our next item is $50 towards towards supplies to create signs for the tables. So we want to create signs for each table to make sure that students know who they're talking to, what's going on at each table, where they're walking towards, and all of that. And then we are also going to spend around $100 on art supplies for the Student Art Therapy organization, because drawing and painting and art has been scientifically proven to help increase your mental health. So that is what we are going to spend our budget on if we are selected for the Community Impact Challenge. So I'm now going to pass it back to Sandra for our conclusion.
Thank you. So we just really hope that you see how this mental health fair has a huge impact to the community, how important this is, and we want to thank you for your consideration for the Community Impact Challenge. And here's all the sources that we have been using throughout this presentation. And thank you so much and have a good day.
Thank you for tuning in to watch all of the presentations. We want to thank the finalists and congratulate them on all of their hard work. We're going to have each of the judges introduce themselves. My name's Eliza Rink. I'm a GA that works with Community Hornets and the Union Activities Council, and I'm serving as a representative for the students at ESU.
My name is Shelby Perez, and I work as a sexual health social worker at Lawrence Douglas County Public Health, and I'm representing alums.
And hi there, I'm Mickey Edwards. I'm the CEO of the United Way of the Flint Hills in Emporia, and I'm representing the community.
Hi, I'm Chris Logry, Communication Faculty and Director of Debate, and I'm representing the faculty.
And I'm Blythe Eddy. I am a Director of Student Activities and Community Service in the Center for Student Involvement, and I am representing staff.
Now I'd like to pass it over to Shelby to give some comments on the finalists.
Thank you so much for participating in this year's Community Impact Challenge. All of the proposals were phenomenal. All of these have such a pressing issue in our community. The deliberation was really difficult, and it was so great to hear about all of the positive comments that we had for these great ideas. And now I'll pass it over to Mickey.
And I just want to say, I agree 100% with Shelby. These issues are hard to tackle, and the solutions that were presented were creative and unique, and we wished that we could select every single one of them. As a United Way executive here in our community, I'm truly inspired by all these students and their creativity and desire to give back to the community at large. So thank you all very much for your great ideas and your participation. And I will pass it over to Chris.
This is a project where there's a clear need with a specific target population that is significant to the ESU and broader community. We saw this idea as well developed in its logistics that has the potential for a long-term sustainable impact. The winners of this year's Community Impact Challenge are the Campus Food Access International Committee, who are Margaret Mulat, Aaron Clark, and Ryoto Sagawa.
Congratulations again to our winners. And thank you to all of our finalists for participating. If you want more information about the Community Impact Challenge, please visit our website. A big thank you again to our co-sponsors, the Communication and Theater Department, Community Hornets, and the Honors College. If you want to get more involved in our community, please contact Community Hornets, and we would love to match you with an organization in the Emporia area. Thank you again so much for participating.